Andrew, Paraag, thank you very much for sitting down with us this afternoon. Can I come to you first, Andrew? What was it about Rangers that attracted the consortium to the club?
There are many different things that attracted us, but I think I keep coming back to three. The first are the supporters themselves. The breadth of the fan base is incredible. Millions of supporters around the world, 600 supporter clubs. I think we sold over 400,000 kits recently in a year. And not just the breadth, but also the depth of the passion. Anytime you have a conversation with a supporter, you can just sort of feel the electricity emanating from them, their love for the club. So supporters would be the first thing. Second is this, Ibrox. It's our castle. It's an incredibly tough place to come and play as an opposing team, which gives us a competitive advantage. And then it's a magical place to come as a supporter. And the third are the competitions. Every year we have a chance to win the league, to win 2 cups and to play in Europe. I think most clubs would be thrilled to have any one of those three. And at Rangers we get all 3 of those.
Just in terms of the role you will both take on at the club, can you both maybe tell us a little bit about your roles? Paraag, do you want to take this one first?
Sure, yes. I mean, with our group, we've got a lot of experience and expertise with professional sporting organizations. Myself personally, I've overseen 2 different turnarounds, one with the 49ers and then more recently with Leeds United. And to put it in simplest terms, it's just trying to take the blueprints of what we learned, what worked and what didn't work, and apply it here. And I think that we bring something a little unique to the table in that we know what it's supposed to look like, and the things that you need to do to build that right foundation to set the club up for sustained success, competitively on the pitch as well as commercially. And so it's really about bringing that same sporting and commercial expertise to this.
Paraag and I are very much partners in this, but we've been very careful not to put bright lines between roles, and that there'll be overlap. I'll obviously gravitate towards things that I know, which are going to be more on the business side. And as Paraag just touched on, he has a wealth of experience on the sporting side.
How does that sit in terms of the day-to-day running of the club?
The day-to-day running of the club is really done by Patrick and the executive team, overseen by the board. So the board's role is to determine the multi-year strategy, to choose our chief executive officer, which obviously we're thrilled to have Patrick. But then Patrick runs the club day to day, and we help and offer advice and counsel and discuss things. But the club very much has its own team that runs it day to day.
Just in terms of the aims for the club in the short term, what are the priorities here?
Pretty simple, is win. That's the short, medium, and long-term focus is to win. But as much as I don't have a lot of patience, it does require patience and discipline and building that right foundation, because ultimately what you're trying to do is make as many decisions that are right, more often right than wrong, stack as many of those decisions as you can, and ultimately in the long term you'll be successful. But as we all know, there's a lot of luck involved in this great sport, and so all you could do is set yourself up to put yourself in a position to be able to win that league title, to be able to win that cup. Which way the ball actually bounces is not in our control, but we'll control what we can control. And hopefully there'll be a lot of success in the near future.
In an earlier answer there, Andrew, you mentioned about the history of the club and what's already here. How important will that be to the group to sort of maintain the standards and culture that is here already?
It's incredibly important. It's one of the things that attracted us to the club, is the heritage and the history. And so our role will be to make sure that we maintain that and celebrate that while still moving the club forward to achieve our ambitions.
Just on Russell Martin as head coach, how did that appointment come about? It was a vigorous process, I think, to get him in as head coach.
It was a very exhaustive, comprehensive process, led by Patrick and Kev, very capably, and we're all very excited about him. Given his experience, being a former Ranger man himself, he understands the unique weight put on him. And it was referenced earlier about how long or short will the honeymoon period be. There's no such thing as a honeymoon period in football. The pressure is always there, every match to win. And he understands that, having been here, having been a successful manager. And really what I've found in my experience is that the really good managers, they not only know what works well for them, but they've also learned from different challenges they've had in their careers and learned what didn't work and how to adjust. And I feel like Russell's done a good job of that as well.
In terms of the investment into the men's playing squad, how much of the initial 20 million will be spent in that area?
We'll try to be transparent about a great many things at the club, but then we'll also be very opaque with other things, and this is one of those. So we are investing 20 million into the club by the end of the month, but it doesn't do us any good to talk about how much of that's going to go into the squad, what position, etc., because that just makes our job harder in the window.
And on the football department side of it, Kevin Thelwell and Dan Purdy have come in there too. How confident are you that they're the right people to take the club in the direction you want it to go?
You know, I've been fans of both of them from before I knew them for years. Just studying their work that they've done together, as well as through the interview process as we got to know them well. They think about things the way we like to think about things, looking at football decision making from an empirical data-based perspective, trying to really try to find any competitive edge they can in both the recruitment, procurement, and ultimately signing of players. And the fact that they work so well together as a team, the pairing with the two of them running the football side of our organization is something we're both very excited about.
In terms of the women's first team as well, the women's department, what's the vision for that side of the business?
We see nothing but upside there. As you know, the women's team had a great season with 2 cup wins and coming close to winning the treble. We think that we've barely scratched the surface of women's football. We've created a sub-panel of the board made up of Jean, Fraser, and Patrick to come up with a multi-year strategic plan, because again, I think we're just getting started in that area and I'm pretty excited about it.
We spoke about the short term as well at the start. You touched on medium, long term, it being to win. How much of it is about making this sustainable over the years too?
It is the priority, is trying to set this up so that every year we have a chance to compete for the league title, for the cups, for everything. And honestly, if Andrew and I are doing our jobs well, you won't hear from us much. We'll speak when we have something to say, but really we want our actions to speak for themselves. And if we're doing a good job, then that means that you won't need to hear from us much, and that's because we are experiencing success both short and long term.
And Andrew, just finally, what's your message to supporters today ahead of a new season?
I think I would say that there is work to be done, and we are ready for that. We look forward to it. Getting this deal completed is not the finish line. We are now at the starting line. This club needs a catalyst, and Paraag and I are prepared to lead the effort to be that catalyst. So we're thrilled to be part of the club.